The Western Conference Final is set and ready to go. The Eastern Conference Final, we are still waiting to see who wins Game 7 between the Montreal Canadiens and the Buffalo Sabres. But we do know the Western Conference Final, and that is going to be a good one in the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. So we're obviously going to be starting off by talking about Colorado versus Vegas because that's the matchup that we actually officially know. We're going to touch on the Eastern Conference Final, but we're not going to go super in depth in it because, again, we don't know who Carolina is going to end up playing. So let's start off in the West. Let's talk about Colorado versus Vegas. And I'm super intrigued on how this matchup is going to play out because you have Colorado, who has kind of dominated their way through the playoffs so far, and I think we all kind of knew that they were going to get by LA. But when they went up against Minnesota, and we weren't quite sure what to expect from Colorado taking on Minnesota, who, for all intents and purposes, was a much, much better team than what Colorado made them look like. Colorado getting rid of Minnesota in 5 games was something that I did not have on my bingo card. I really did think that that series was going to go at least 6 games, possibly 7. And the fact that Colorado made quick work of them in 5 games, man, they are looking like the team to beat coming out of the West. But then you have their opponent in the Vegas Golden Knights, and Vegas has been a team in the playoffs where they just find ways to win. And no matter how bad the game was on paper, they still manage to find a way to win. No matter what the scenario is, they manage to find a way to win. And look, it's been kind of an up and down roller coaster of a playoff run for Vegas so far. They've had times where they look like they could just run away with the Stanley Cup, and then they have times where they struggle against teams like Utah and Vegas. And that's no disrespect to those two teams, but it really did feel like Vegas really struggled against those two teams at certain point in times. So again, on the Colorado side, you have a team where they have kind of breezed through rounds 1 and 2, and it hasn't necessarily been all out dominant because there were some close games here and there, but they just look like such a well-oiled machine, and I just don't know how that is going to match up against the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, we do know that Vegas can play very good team defense, and that's going to be key as they go up against that buzzsaw of an offense from the Avalanche. So again, probably where the majority of people thought the Western Conference Final was going to head to. And obviously, Edmonton was in that conversation early on. That didn't happen. Other teams like Dallas was a possibility, but with the way Colorado and Vegas have played, it's no surprise. And specifically, Colorado. Again, they've just dominated. They've looked like the clear team to beat coming out of the West. Then on the Eastern Conference side, you have the Carolina Hurricanes, who are just sitting and waiting to see who they're going to play in the conference finals. Is it going to be the Buffalo Sabres, or is it going to be the Montreal Canadiens? Obviously, not much needs to be said about the Carolina Hurricanes at this point. Swept rounds 1 and 2, and honestly, this is where all the eyeballs need to be on Carolina, because this is usually the point in the playoffs where things completely fall apart for them. They usually look great through rounds 1 and 2, and then they hit the conference finals, and it all just goes downhill. Maybe this year will be different. Maybe it'll be just much of the same. But again, a lot of that is going to determine who their opponent is, and we obviously don't know that yet. Game 7 between Montreal and Buffalo happens tonight. So at the time I'm recording this, we obviously don't know who they're playing because the game hasn't happened yet. And honestly, if I was a Carolina fan, I don't know who I would rather play. Because both teams, both Buffalo and Montreal, are just kind of wild cards right now. You've got Buffalo, who's playing a good game, but not over the top great. And I think the same can kind of be said for Montreal. Both teams have their strengths, and both teams have their weaknesses. And obviously, Carolina does have their weaknesses too, but I feel like with those two teams, their weaknesses are a little more noticeable than what Carolina's is. So I'm curious, obviously, to see who wins Game 7 tonight between Buffalo and Montreal. And then I'm also very excited to see just what the matchup is going to look like for Carolina. And yeah, there is something to be said for Carolina to be off for this significant amount of time, but let's be honest. Rod Brendamore is not allowing those guys to take a day off. So I don't necessarily think that Carolina is going to be in any trouble. There may be a little bit of rust in the first period of the conference finals for them, but outside of that, I think they should be able to kick it into gear. The kind of smaller injuries have had their times to heal a little bit more, and it feels like Carolina could be the team to beat so far in the entirety of the playoffs. Again, sweeping a team like Ottawa, who a lot of people thought was going to give them a run for their money, and then you had them sweep through round two in Philadelphia. And I feel like whoever team they were going to play, whether it had been Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, probably would have been a sweep regardless. And that's a Penguins fan saying that. So while we are one step closer to the Stanley Cup final, we still don't know the full story. Obviously, the West is figured out, but we don't know how that's going to play out. We don't know if Vegas is going to be able to contain that buzzsaw of an offense from Colorado. And on the East, we don't even know who Carolina is going to be playing yet. So this is where I want to hear from you guys. Let me know who you think is going to win coming out of the Western Conference. Do you think it's going to be Colorado, or do you think it's going to be Vegas? And then let me know who you think is going to end up playing Carolina, and who do you think is going to end up winning that series, regardless of if it's Buffalo or Montreal. Again, both series should be good. I'm super, super intrigued by that Western Conference final. I genuinely don't know which direction that could go. Again, in the East, it feels like it's Carolina's year to finally break through and possibly get through the conference final, which is, again, where they always struggle in. So I'm curious to see if those struggles are going to continue, or could this finally be Carolina's year to do something special? Again, as always, leave your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. And while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. That is the only link in the description for a reason. That is because it'll take you to all of the social media platforms for this channel. Currently, right now, we are only on Instagram and X. I will say the Instagram page does get a little more tender love and care because that is how this entire page started in the first place. But if you do enjoy these videos, you're looking for some extra content, again, Linktree link in the description. It'll take you to wherever you want to go. So with all that said and done, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Again, both are free, both really help out the channel a lot. And of course, if you have made it to this point of the video, I want to say thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch these videos here, because it genuinely does mean the world to me. And also stay tuned to the next video on this channel, where we are going to be taking a look back at both the East and the Western Conference Finals, and we're going to be talking about the jersey matchups. So of course, stay tuned for that and other hockey and jersey content coming in the future. We'll see you next time.